on the bass. And Kevin Serio on trombone. Thank you for coming tonight to hear an evening of big band jazz. That first tune was called Blues and Hoss Flat. It's from the Count Basie Library, written by one of his two famous Frank tenor players, Frank Foster, the other being Frank Wess. And both of those Franks were very prominent on the band in the 1950s. Big hits such as Corner Pocket, Shining Stockings, April in Paris, out of those tunes. So that was called Blues and Hoss Flat. We're going to continue on now with a Latin tune that was originally written by John Coltrane, tenor saxophonist, and has been rearranged for big band. And this has been rearranged by locally famous Craig Skeffington, who's sitting right here in the audience. Give him a hand. It's a great play. I'm sure he'll make me pay for all this later, but he is a great writer, and he's nationally published, and we're lucky to have him around, and we enjoy playing a lot of his music. This is his chart on Naima, and this will feature Gideon Forbes on tenor saxophone and Eric Quinn on trombone. forward from Tennessee, Eric Quinn on trombone. Our next tune is a great old standard, They Can't Take That Away From Me. And this is yet another new arrangement of an old standard. And the person who wrote this, his name is George Stone. And he's another contemporary, highly published writer. And he has a band of his own. And so this is one of his latest recordings that he's produced with his band. This is called They Can't Take That Away From Me. California on alto sax. Carter on guitar. And Troup on bass. This next one is to feature our jazz saxophone professor, Barry Saunders. Let's welcome Barry. Please, the hot seat's right here. And this, I originally got this chart from a friendly acquaintance of mine, trombonist Conrad Herwig, and he did it as a feature, but it works for anybody. So Barry will prove that right now. This is Conrad's arrangement of Body and Soul. stronger. '91 South Street. So Barry's at a gig. He just ran here to play this at this gig, and he's running back to his other gig. So when we're done, if you want to go hear him some more, yeah, go have an after-gig beverage at his gig. So there you go. It's nice to be busy. The kids keep eating that way. Okay, speaking of busy, this young man's been very busy, and more to come. So this will feature Eric Quinn, our lead trombonist. Well, he's got a lot of stuff coming up, including a recital. Who else has a recital coming up?
I do.
So they're all busy. I don't. Yeah, I've done two already. Okay, so anyway, this will feature Eric Quinn. I first heard this chart. This is called The Meaning of the Blues. And Eric, I'll get to the music stand. Come on up here while we're doing this. This is called The Meaning of the Blues. A vocalist and writer from the West Coast who was really heavy in the 1950s and after, Bobby Troup is his name. He's the one that originally wrote the chart. This I first heard on the Woody Herman recording Giant Steps, which is from 1974, I believe. And the trombonist who played it on that recording was one of my first trombone heroes. Jim Pugh was his name. You've all, if you listen to public radio, you've all heard a lot of his writing. He's maybe the heaviest writer for the you know, their jingle. If you hear a weird saxophone group playing it, or some trumpets, or an Offenklide, or just some, he writes tons of them. And he's laughing all the way to the bank. I'm sure he writes tons of those. But anyway, I digress. We're going to get back to The Meaning of the Blues. This is Eric Quinn on trombone, and it's from the Woody Herman Library. Okay. Well, we're going to move forward now. Actually, in style, I guess, what am I doing? Picking the wrong thing off stage. This is me multitasking. In style, we're moving backwards in time. This next chart's a bebop chart, which the bebop era was in the 1940s, late 1940s. And this is a new arrangement of a bebop. That's why I said we're moving forward. So this is another George Stone chart. He's the guy that arranged Can't Take That Away From Me. So here we go. This is called D-Bop, and this will feature Gideon Forbes on tenor saxophone and our lead trumpeter, now playing jazz trumpet, Mike Nelson. And Mike's also a graduate student on trumpet. So here we are with George Stone's D-Bop. easy chart. Plenty of notes in that one. McCoy Tyner wrote this chart, and this is called Search for Peace, and it was arranged by Alan Baylock. And this is another chart that I actually got from Conrad Herwig, that trombonist I mentioned earlier with Body and Soul. This time, though, we'd like to feature Micah Mario, who's our jazz trumpet faculty member here. And we've had the great pleasure this semester of going on tour and playing at many high schools. And boy, did the band get better, playing 3 concerts a day for 3 days. And it was a huge experiment for me, and I was unbelievably pleased with how they played by the end of it. No. I'm kidding. So, anyway, this is one of the tunes we did on the tour. This is Search for Peace, and this is Micah Mario on trumpet. And trumpet. Beautiful job. Okay, well, we're getting there. We're getting there quickly now. This next one, we have a couple of shorter ones to play for you before our last number. This next one is from Duke Ellington's band. And Ellington had this propensity to write longer pieces. He was the first jazz composer to write a tune to be recorded that was longer than 3.5 minutes. Back then, it had to fit on a 78 recording. 3.5 minutes was the max. And eventually, Ellington got sick of that whole game and said, forget it. If they want to finish it, they'll flip it over. So he did. He wrote diminuendo and crescendo in blue, and diminuendo was on one side, crescendo was on the other. This is after that. This is called Isgahan, and this is from a suite that he'd written called the Far East Suite. So this will feature, originally featured Johnny Hodges, his very prominent lead alto player and stylist and soloist on the band. This will feature our very prominent lead alto player and stylist on the band. This is Carl Firm with Isgahan. It's obvious they don't really need me. You know? Not just here either. No, I'm just kidding. You can see what the joke is with that tune as we were playing it school after school on tour. Probably keep waiting longer to come in. And pretty soon he owned the trumpets. They couldn't help but laugh. Every time he did it, after a while it wasn't funny, but they couldn't help it. They're trumpet players. They're doing their best back there. I'm kidding. It's the back pressure. So this next one is called "Come Back to Me," and this is an arrangement of Terry White's that's from a recording that Sammy Davis Jr. did with a big band, and the drummer on the band was Buddy Rich, who was another one of these famous jazz musicians who played with Artie Shaw. He was big solos with Artie Shaw's orchestra on Karaoke was one of his big features. Buddy's played with many, many people. Eventually went on to have his own band that became a huge influence on modern big band. You know, when he was a kid, Buddy Rich, when he was a kid, he was the second highest paid child actor. He was a drummer and worked on Broadway. He was called Troup's The Boy Wonder. Who was the first highest paid child actor, you think?
Shirley Temple.
Shirley Temple. So, should have gone with that. So anyway, this will feature our Buddy Rich, one of our seniors. This is Jacob Forbes on the drums. This is called "Come Back to Me." He makes it look easy. It must be. Okay, anyway. We're down to our last tune now. So thank you so much for coming out to hear the big band tonight. Let's give them a round of applause. How many of you in this band are seniors? I know, that's my bad news. It's cool for now, but yeah. How many of you are juniors? Okay. How many of you are sophomores? Any freshmen? I won't even make a comment. Okay. Well, there you have it. I'm not sure what that proves, but there you have it. So this last tune is a very new chart, and this is from a band that's an excellent band, and it's comprised of LA's top A-list studio players. So these guys work all day in the studio, make a ton of money, by the way, but make a great living playing their instruments. And then for fun, they put together this big band by one of the West Coast's dominant writers. He's written many film scores like The Incredibles, that movie. His name's Goodwin. And so he's got this band that's so much fun, and they're all buddies. If you ever see them live, they're just having a blast, and they're killing. They're unreal musicians. But this tune is called The Jazz Police, and it's written by Goodwin. And this will feature Gideon Forbes on tenor and Elias Cottle on guitar. Thank you again for coming out to hear the band tonight. It's been our pleasure to play for you, and we'll close now with The Jazz Police. Ensemble. Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll be playing very soon. We have a concert 2 weeks after the next semester starts, so starting next rehearsal, it's all new music. You hear that? Okay. Thank you all so much for coming out. Have a great night.
I figured that one came out decent, and I didn't know if you got it.